There are roads you drive because you have to. And then there are roads you drive because you don't know how to stop. John Miller had been running the same routes for 27 years. Interstate 40, coast to coast, through every season, every storm, every sunrise that painted the asphalt gold. Most folks see a truck and think about cargo, deadlines, diesel fuel. But inside that cab, behind that worn steering wheel, there's always a story. A life measured not in miles per gallon, but in miles away from home. Tonight, somewhere between Oklahoma City and Amarillo, with nothing but darkness ahead and rain starting to fall, John Miller was about to face the one thing he'd been outrunning for decades. Not another rig, not a tight deadline, but the truth. The kind of truth that doesn't need words. The kind that sits in your chest at 3 in the morning when the CB radio goes quiet and all you hear is your own breathing. Some men spend their whole lives building something. John had spent his building distance, and tonight, for the first time, he was going to ask himself if it had been worth it. The wipers moved slow across the windshield, smearing the rain into streaks of light from the highway reflectors. John Miller kept his eyes on the road, hands at 10 and 2, the way he'd done for 27 years. The engine hummed steady beneath him. 43 feet of steel and chrome, loaded with furniture bound for a warehouse in Albuquerque. Standard run, nothing special. He'd made this trip 200 times if he'd made it once. But tonight felt different. Maybe it was the rain, maybe it was the silence. The CB was dead quiet, no chatter, no road updates, no voices cutting through the static to remind him he wasn't the only one out here. Just him and the highway, and the ghosts that rode shotgun when the miles got long. Above the dashboard, tucked into the visor, was a photograph, faded now, corners bent. A woman with dark hair and a smile that used to light up a room. A little girl, maybe 6 years old, missing her front teeth, holding a drawing of a truck with the words, "Daddy's Home," scrawled in crooked letters. John hadn't looked at that picture in months, maybe longer, but tonight his eyes kept drifting up to it. Sarah, Emma. 27 years ago, when he'd first climbed into a rig, it had been for them, to build something, to provide, to be the kind of man who didn't let his family go without. And he'd done that, kept the bills paid, kept the house standing, kept food on the table and clothes on their backs. But somewhere along the way, the road had become more than a job. It had become a habit, then a routine, then a refuge. Because out here, you didn't have to explain yourself. Out here, you were just a driver. No one asked why you missed the recital, or the birthday, or the graduation. Out here, the only thing that mattered was making the delivery on time. John passed a green sign that said Amarillo 83 miles. He reached for the thermos of coffee wedged between the seats, took a sip. Cold now, bitter. He didn't care. It was something to do with his hands, something to keep the thoughts at bay. But they came anyway. They always did on nights like this. He thought about the last time he'd been home, really home, not just a quick overnight between loads. Not just long enough to shower, sleep, and hit the road again. When was the last time he'd sat at the kitchen table and had a meal with Sarah? When was the last time he'd heard Emma's voice without a phone line between them? She wasn't a little girl anymore. She was 24 now, living in Denver, working at some marketing firm. He knew that because Sarah had told him in a text 3 months ago. He'd meant to call, meant to congratulate her, meant to say he was proud. But the load had been heavy and the deadline tight, and by the time he thought about it again, 2 weeks had passed, and it felt too late, too awkward. So he didn't call, and she didn't call him. And that's how it had been for years now. A slow, quiet drift, like continental plates moving apart. So gradual you don't even notice until one day you look up and realize there's an ocean between you. The rain picked up. John flipped the wipers to high. The
The road ahead blurred and cleared, blurred and cleared. He thought about pulling over, waiting it out, but he didn't, because stopping meant thinking, and thinking was the one cargo he didn't know how to carry. So he drove, the way he always did, through the rain, through the doubt, through the years, mile after mile after mile, until the numbers on the odometer blurred together, and the only thing that felt real was the vibration of the engine and the weight of the wheel in his hands. A sign appeared on the right, rest area 2 miles. John's foot eased off the gas. He didn't plan to stop, but his body was tired, his eyes were heavy, and maybe, just maybe, he needed a minute, just a minute, to breathe. He guided the rig off the highway and into the rest area. It was almost empty. One sedan parked near the restrooms, a couple of big rigs at the far end, lights off, drivers sleeping. John pulled into a spot away from the others, near a line of trees that swayed in the wind. He killed the engine. The silence hit him like a wave. No hum, no rumble, just rain drumming on the roof and the faint creak of metal cooling down. He sat there in the darkness, staring at nothing. His phone was in the cup holder. He picked it up. The screen lit his face. 3 missed calls, all from Sarah, all from last week. He'd seen them, meant to call back. But what would he say? That he was sorry? That he didn't know how it got this bad? That he didn't know how to fix it? He opened the messages, scrolled up. Months of short exchanges. Her asking when he'd be home, him replying soon. Her sending pictures of the garden, him replying with a thumbs up. Her telling him Emma got engaged, him typing congratulations and nothing else. It wasn't always like this. There was a time when they talked, really talked.
When he'd call from a truck stop at midnight, and she'd answer on the first ring, and they'd stay on the line until one of them fell asleep. When she'd send him letters with drawings from Emma, and he'd pin them to the wall of his cab. When coming home felt like coming home, not like visiting a place you used to know. John set the phone down. He rubbed his face with both hands. When did it change? When did the road become easier than the kitchen table? When did silence become safer than conversation? He didn't have an answer. Or maybe he did and just didn't want to say it out loud. Because the truth was, he'd chosen this. Not all at once, not in some big dramatic moment, but in 1,000 small decisions. Every time he said yes to another load instead of no. Every time he stayed out an extra week because the money was good. Every time he told himself it was for them, when really it was for him. Because out here, he was good at something. Out here, he knew the rules. Out here, he didn't have to face the fact that somewhere along the way, he'd become a stranger in his own life. The rain eased up. John looked out the window. The sky was starting to shift. Still dark, but softer now. The kind of dark that comes right before dawn. He thought about Sarah, the way she used to look at him when he walked through the door, like he was someone worth waiting for. Did she still look at him that way? Or had that gone too? He thought about Emma, the way she used to run to him when he came home, arms wide, laughing, "Daddy's home, Daddy's home." When did she stop running? When did she stop waiting? He picked up his phone again, opened a new message, stared at the empty screen. What do you say to someone you've loved your whole life but barely know anymore? What do you say when you've been gone so long that sorry doesn't feel like enough? His thumbs hovered over the keyboard. He typed, "I know I haven't been there." Deleted it. Typed again, "I'm sorry for all the years I missed." Deleted it. Typed again, "I don't know how to fix this, but I want to try." He stared at the words. They felt small, inadequate, but they were true. And maybe that was enough. Maybe that was all he had. Now, before we go any further,
If this story is hitting home for you, if you've ever felt the weight of the road and the distance it creates, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications, because these stories, these lives, they matter. And the more people who hear them, the more we remind each other that we're not alone out here. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment, tell us your story, because every trucker, every driver, every road warrior has one, and we want to hear yours. Now stay with us, because what happens next might just change everything. John stared at the message for a long time. His finger hovered over the send button. He could feel his heart beating in his chest, slow, heavy. This was it. This was the moment, the choice. He could delete it, put the phone down, fire up the engine and keep driving, keep the distance, keep the routine, keep pretending that this was fine. Or he could send it and face whatever came next. Silence, anger, forgiveness, or maybe nothing at all. But at least he'd know. At least he'd tried. He took a breath and pressed send. The message disappeared from the screen. Delivered. John set the phone down. His hands were shaking. He didn't know what he expected. Maybe a response right away. Maybe nothing for days. Maybe never. But he'd done it. And for the first time in years, he felt something other than numb. He felt afraid and alive and human. Minutes passed. The sky lightened. The rain stopped. Birds started to sing somewhere in the trees. John sat in the silence, waiting. Then his phone buzzed. He nearly jumped. He picked it up. A message from Sarah. 3 words. Where are you? John exhaled. His hands were still shaking. He typed, rest area, outside Amarillo. Another buzz. Are you safe? Yeah, I'm safe. A pause. Then another message. Come home, John. Not for a day, not for a visit. Come home. John read the words over and over. Come home, come home, come home. He didn't know if he deserved it, didn't know if he could fix what was broken, but she was giving him a chance, and that was more than he thought he'd get. He typed back, I will. I'm on my way. He set the phone down, looked out at the horizon. The sun was rising now, painting the clouds in shades of orange and pink. The road stretched out ahead of him, same as always, but it didn't feel the same, because for the first time in 27 years, John Miller wasn't running away. He was running toward something, toward home, toward the people who'd been waiting for him all this time, toward the life he'd left behind. It wouldn't be easy, he knew that. There would be hard conversations, old wounds, years to make up for, but he was ready, or at least he was willing to try. And sometimes that's all it takes. John started the engine. The familiar rumble filled the cab. He put the rig in gear, pulled out of the rest area, and merged back onto the highway. The miles stretched out ahead of him, but this time they didn't feel endless. They felt like a countdown, a journey, a road leading somewhere that mattered. And for the first time in a long time, John Miller smiled. The road teaches you a lot of things if you're willing to listen. It teaches you patience, endurance, how to keep moving when everything in you wants to quit. But the most important thing it teaches you is this: it's never too late to turn around. It's never too late to choose the people that matter. It's never too late to come home. Because at the end of the day, the road will always be there, but the people you love won't wait forever. And the real journey isn't measured in miles. It's measured in moments, the ones you choose to show up for. Every road has a hero, not because of how far they go, but because of what they're willing to face along the way. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop running and start coming home.